What a pleasant surprise. Fancy seeing a familiar face around this time of night. Care to join me in the carriage? The rain will only get worse, judging by how thick the clouds are. It would be a shame to ruin such elegant clothes, my dear. The runny nose wouldn't suit you either. Good choice. You would have caught your death out there in the cold. Look at you, you poor thing. You're all soaked. Here, take my cloak to warm yourself up again. You're positively shivering. There you go. Were you heading anywhere in particular? It is rather late for somebody like you to be walking around here alone. Bad things happen to pretty faces around here, especially at this hour. Oh, you poor thing. What unfortunate timing. The rain must have begun right as you were on your way back. I'm glad I noticed you then. It may not be far to your residence, but without an umbrella it would have been quite an uncomfortable journey. Having you here gives me an idea, however. I'm on my way to the theatre. Would you care to join me? If nobody is expecting you home, of course. I had planned to go with a friend of mine this evening, but they didn't feel like mingling tonight. So now I have an extra ticket to the play, and letting it go to waste would be quite a shame. Wonderful. I had hoped you'd be interested. Today is the opening performance of The Discarded Son, and I just couldn't help myself. You know I have a weak spot for the arts. And with the prospect of seeing an intriguing drama, I simply had to. It would be a pleasure to take you. And please, don't feel like a replacement. I was attempting to cheer up my friend and get them among people. But it seems they don't feel quite ready for that. Quite yet. Were the circumstances any other, I might have asked you to go with me. However, Valentine is going through a rather difficult phase at the moment, and I try to keep them from isolating. But sometimes it might be best to give people time to recover before dragging them out of their comfort zone again. Caterpillars, too, need to stay in their cocoon to become majestic butterflies. For us humans, it is more self-reflection than discorporation, but the result is similar enough, in my opinion. Enough about that, though, my dear. I'm certain all will be well in due time. For now, though, would you care for a glass of mild wine? Lord Deverac gifted me a fine bottle just earlier today, and I have been wondering just whom to share it with. I am certain it will be to your taste, my dear. The Lord is very careful about selecting gifts, and from what I have heard, this particular kind has a very light taste. I'm not too fond of strong alcoholic notes myself. After having a fair share of drunken experiences, it eventually begins tasting of bad decisions and memories best forgotten. Here you go. Have a taste if you'd like. But do be careful to not spill it on yourself, dear. Wine stains tend to be rather tedious. I do suppose having wine glasses in my carriage is a little strange. but I brought them only a few moments before I noticed you on the street. I realised that my old set was, well, it wasn't a set anymore. And I figured some new glasses were in order. These are much nicer than my old ones. And a lot finer, too. The thin glass is quite pleasant to look at. But I do worry it might be a little fragile. I suppose I'll have to hope they last a little longer than the previous set. Last time, a rather rowdy guest began to break them after getting upset. Some people can handle rejection quite well. Others begin throwing tantrums. And their host's wine glasses, it appears. Luckily, no one was injured. Only the glasses were destroyed. All else remained mostly untouched. Drunken people tend to be quite a hassle. That's part of the reason why I mostly swore off liquor. But every once in a while, a glass of wine or two with such lovely company is simply too tempting. Such a pleasant flavour. I have never tasted anything like this before. Would you agree? It vaguely reminds me of spring. Oh dear. Are you okay? The road must have had a... You're bleeding. Don't look at me. Just take this handkerchief. It may only be a small cut, but please, just press it on the wound. You looked, didn't you? You noticed the change in my eyes. I promise you nothing will happen as long as you cover the wound. I said, cover it. Now. Great. A second glass broken. Oh, I still have to get used to this grip strength. You really have a death wish, don't you? For Christ's sake, no! No. Don't take it off. Just keep it pressed on there. I'll be fine. God, that smell. Listen. You have to stay calm. I can sense your heartbeat getting faster and faster, and for Christ's sake, you need to keep holding that handkerchief. I apologise, dear. I lost my temper for a moment. This situation could not be blamed on you. I suppose it's my fault for withholding information about myself. But in my foolish mind, I hoped I'd be able to keep it a secret. You poor thing. You look simply terrified. Trembling from the cold, the shock, or the fear. Perhaps all three at once. I assure you, you are safe. I can control myself. You must think of me as some sort of maniac. And I admit, were I a normal person, this kind of reaction would be strange, to say the least. But don't be afraid, my dear. And please allow me just a moment to explain. I have kept this from you for selfish reasons. But I have been infected with vampirism. An illness of the mind and body alike that makes one behave more animalistic than one may wish. A sickness, slowly chipping away your sanity, until all that you are has been stripped to the core. What remains is only a poisoned, black, dark beating heart that offers a glimpse into what the opposite of humanity might look like, were it boiled and filtered into an essence of pure darkness and evil. It makes the infected yearn for blood. But I have never simply felt such a strong reaction over simply smell before. In all my years of suffering from this affliction, never has such a small cut been enough to induce this switch from within me. Perhaps it's because I know you. Because you mean something to me as a person. As cruel as the implications of that would be. Perhaps it has to do with the wine, and the law did it on purpose to sabotage me. Or perhaps it is simply you. I was worried you would fear me once you knew. But I'm not sure how to interpret that expression on you. Are you terrified? Intrigued? In shock, even? Whatever you may feel, I understand if this means you prefer keeping your distance from me from now on. I will ask the driver to get you home directly. What's that supposed to mean? How could you possibly entertain the thought of being in this confined space with me? After seeing my reaction to even the tiniest drop of your blood, how could you possibly look into these hungry eyes and feel unthreatened? How can you feel comfortable knowing that at the slightest fracture of your skin I might leap at you and I wouldn't be able to stop myself? A friend of mine recently had an incident. They weren't able to stop. And I don't want you to end up like that. A lifeless body in my arms. Another casualty fallen because yet another young vampire lost control. You don't deserve to end up like that. Nobody deserves to end up like that. And if I could only save one person from ever enduring that same fate, it would be you. I cannot let you fall to your demise simply because you put your trust in me. My dear, it was selfish of me to try and befriend you. Vampires and humans should never interact with one another. I should have been honest with you from the start. Or at least saved us both the struggle of getting involved. I might hurt you. And even if I don't, you'll die within what feels like a blink of the eye. You and I were never meant to meet. And it was foolish of me to toy with fate, as I did. I cannot possibly entertain the thought of you staying near me after these most recent events. You can never be safe by my side. And I can never truly be at ease knowing that I'm merely a paper cut away from becoming a murderer. From killing a person I care about. An innocent, kind, caring human being. You deserve so much better, dear. Even if that means I can never see you again. In the end, I cannot tell you what to do. I can only suggest that it might be best for you to stay away. Perhaps for tonight we can pretend none of this happened and enjoy the play together. Tomorrow will be your choice to make. Take your time to think about it, my dear. Consider the danger of me, and weigh your options. I promise I won't be upset either way. Not that I have much choice in the matter.